A lot of times inspectors will note that the neutral and ground wires, which they mean equipment grounding wires, they say that the neutral and ground wires are on the same bus bar in the sub panel, and they recommend that these be separated. The reason that they're put together is because when it was built, your home is probably 20 plus years old, if they're saying this. The reason that it was done like that is because from your outside panel, which we call the exterior panel, probably where your meter's at, to the sub panel. This sub panel is probably maybe in a closet, depending on the age of the home, maybe a garage or something like that. Between those two, there's a big cable, a feeder wire, it's probably about that big. And what they've done is they run that cable between the two panels. Inside that cable, there's 3 wires. You got 2 hots and a neutral. Well, that neutral is actually a neutral / ground. They were using, back then they would allow that one conductor to do both. So when it got to the sub panel, they would put all the small neutrals and equipment grounds, and they'd connect them together, and that was fine. Now, the inspector says you need to separate those. Well, if you do separate those, the problem is you still have a 3-wire feeder coming from that outside panel. So in this case, a lot of times what this repair requires is changing the panel. That's not always the case, but more often than not, it's just better to change the panel to a new panel that will separate the neutrals and the grounds. And then we're going to have to also replace that wire or that feeder from the sub panel back out to that main panel with a 4-wire with 2 hots, a neutral, and a ground. This repair, it depends on the home. It could be relatively inexpensive. It could possibly be expensive, just depending on your home. Do you need to do this when it comes up on your inspection report? Well, I'll say this. I'll say that most people decide not to do the repair. Most people say, well, it was built to code when the house was built, so we're going to leave it like that. Is it safe to have this in your home where all the neutrals and grounds are connected? I'll say this, that it was a common practice. It met National Electric Code at one point. It doesn't meet code today. Everybody's circumstances are different, so if you have some particular questions on your home, you need us to take a look at it, feel free to give me a call. We'll come out, take a look at it, and see what your options are for this repair.